one person makes a comment and then it's like changes the trajectory of us.
It's ridiculous.
It's so hard.
Listen to people who you trust that actually like care for you.
And know you.
And know you really well.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, listen to your parents. They usually know pretty well what is good for you.
Yeah. Welcome to the podcast with Kilee Nichols. I'm Kilee, founder and CEO of the life-changing accessories brand Nickel & Suede and the successful style blog One Little Mama. I made the unlikely transition from stay-at-home mom to founder and entrepreneur. It takes a lot of courage to make a change like that, but I love the growth and the confidence that's come from stepping out of my comfort zone. This is the podcast for people who want to be inspired to be brave, to take a chance, and to change their life. I'll be sharing stories and actionable takeaways about working with your spouse, being a working mom, starting and growing a business, confidence, motivation, and more. So get ready to get inspired and to get started with Kilee Nichols. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. I'm Kilee. You are here with Kilee Nichols, and today I have another great guest, my good friend Becky Tolman. Becky is here joining me, and if you've listened to the last couple episodes, I've had some really great inspirational women, and today's guest is also not going to disappoint. Becky, thanks for joining me.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Let's get going. First, I wanted to say, Becky, how do we know each other?
Well, I remember you when you were just this cute little girl, and I was probably a teenager. I remember thinking, that family's really cool. Their dad is fun and outdoorsy, and they have this really pretty little girl. But we renew each other as adults when I moved to town, and we had a mutual friend. I mean, I knew who you were, but Mandy said, hey, we have this preschool co-op.
Yeah.
And we were always looking for new people. We could use some new students. Would you like to join? So I said, sure, let's do it. Thinking this is a great way to get to know people, but really I got to know your kids.
Yeah.
We would say hi like when we dropped the kids off at the doors and stuff. And then I moved a little bit closer, and we started going to church at the same time, and we have gotten to know each other through that.
Yeah, we have like this like long history of, I feel like it's funny as adults, you kind of become friends again, but when we were kids, like there's this weird age gap, but like we're totally friends, same age it feels like now. Yeah. So we go to church together, and we've kind of just crossed paths over and over again. Yeah. So we both grew up in Liberty, and growing up, what were kind of your interests? What were the things that you did? Were you into sports? What were the things that you were into?
I was not into sports. I was absolutely a music, band, choir nerd. I played clarinet, and it was like my life, and all my friends were in band and choir with me, and that's pretty much all I did.
Okay, so music.
Yes.
Okay, and then did you leave Liberty?
I did. I went to Rick's College in Idaho for 2 years. And there I thought I would study music, ended up just graduating in generals with, at the time it was just an associate's degree program. Yeah. And then I transferred to BYU Provo and finished up my degree there.
Okay. And what was your final degree in?
I had so many majors. I was such a confused kid. I ended up doing Near Eastern Studies. I found that I was so intrigued and fascinated by the ancient Middle East, like biblical times.
Yeah.
I loved learning. I learned biblical Hebrew. Thought I was really cool.
That is really cool.
Kind of nerdy, but it was really fun. So I thought that I would end up teaching. I mean, by the time I graduated, I knew that wasn't my path. But I was a little bit confused there for a while.
No, that's so amazing. So you got Hebrew, you've got Middle Eastern, you've got music.
Yeah, I minored in music because I had so many music classes just being in orchestra and stuff like that. All growing up, I thought, okay, I'm going to be a lawyer. Like even before I really knew what a lawyer truly did, I just knew that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a lawyer. And then even in high school, I'm going to be a lawyer. I liked debate. I liked all things law. I kind of had this this drive to help the underdog. Like I think because I'm this short person, I have a soft voice, I always kind of appeared like I would be this submissive person and someone that people could kind of step all over. So because I was treated like that a lot, I don't have like this woe is me story, but I kind of felt like that. Mm-hmm. And so I always had this drive to help the underdog who couldn't help themselves. And I wanted to be able to like have the certificate that said, I can legally stand up for you and be that advocate for you.
Gotcha.
So I always thought I would be a lawyer.
Okay.
And then this is the lesson for you high school girls. Do not listen to boyfriends. Because I was dating this boy who I knew wasn't right for me, but I dated him anyway. And he told me when he asked me what I wanted to be, he said, and these are like his exact words because they stuck in my head so much. He said something like, Becky, you're smart, but you're not lawyer smart. And I was like, and I believed him. What? Why? I don't know why I believed him, but it like turned it off and I felt confused. Like now I don't know what I want to do. So all through college, I didn't know. By the end of college, I remember I was visiting my sister, my oldest sister, and I think she was probably asking me like, what are you going to do? You're about to graduate. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I said, I always thought I'd be a lawyer. And she was like, well, why aren't you? And I was like, I can be a lawyer. I can do this. And so I actually ended up graduating thinking, okay, I can use this major to do international law.
Totally.
Because it totally works with it. I took some modern Hebrew. I knew I was going to take some Arabic, and I thought that would be a really cool field to go into. And I graduated, and I took the LSAT, and all of a sudden this boy who I had been really good friends with for like 4 years but was never interested, all of a sudden I realized, oh, he's like literally the boy of my dreams. And we got engaged and married really fast. And so I kind of put it on the back burner.
Yeah.
And but our plan was still for me to go to law school. So we actually relocated to Missouri. He got in a program to continue to go to school, and I was going to apply. And we thought, we'll take a few years. We'll both finish school. We'll wait to have kids. But about 2 weeks in, I got pregnant.
Man.
Which I was excited about because my other goal was I want to be a mom if I can.
Yeah.
And so I was ecstatic. I wasn't like, man, now I have to be a mom.
Right.
I was super excited.
Right.
But it did put that on the back burner.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. That's a lot. Also, I can totally relate, like similar stories, because I thought I was going to go to school to be an artist.
Yeah.
And then I got to school and I was like, I can't be an artist. All of these artists here are so much more artsy than me. And so I totally switched my major, went to nutrition, and then now I'm like back in this artsy creative space trying to find my way again.
Yeah.
But clearly you were smart enough to be a lawyer because you ended up going to Hebrew and Arabic and all of these like smart things.
I don't know why.
But I feel like that's such a good lesson, because I think all of us kind of can do that, where one person makes a comment and then it's like changes the trajectory of us.
It's ridiculous.
It's so hard.
Listen to people who you trust that actually like care for you
and know you
really well.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, listen to your parents. They usually know pretty well what is good for you.
Yeah. And then also the getting pregnant after getting married. Yeah. Because I was going to go get my master's degree in dietetics and found out I was pregnant with Easton not right before. So wow. Okay. So law school got put on hold.
Yes.
Is it still in the future maybe someday?
It probably is, but it's gotten pushed back again recently. So we'll see.
Wow.
I still have that drive. I still want to be able to say, I can help you.
Yeah.
I see that you're being repressed or whatever the circumstance. You know. Of course, a lot of being a lawyer is not as miraculous as it looks in the movies, but I still want to do it.
Yeah, I love that about you, though. That's so cool. What a great story. Okay, so let's keep going then. Okay, so you found out you were pregnant.
Yes.
And then?
So I had my first daughter, and then we had the next two within. My oldest was 3 when we had our youngest, so they were pretty close together. And that was a crazy busy time of life, when really your whole world is absorbed in what's happening within your home.
Yeah.
You kind of lose yourself. I gladly did so because I really wanted to be able to stay at home with them. I didn't see anything wrong with going to work, but I knew that I would be most effective if I could stay at home. Yeah. So we did that. Our oldest is now 14, and then we have a 14, 12, and 10. Okay. So our youngest, though they're all in school, so there's definitely times, like I've tried a few things. I did substitute teaching for a couple of years because I could teach while they were at school and then be home when they were home. Yeah. which worked pretty well. But again, go back to that. I don't really like teaching. It was a convenient career, but it's just not my passion.
Yeah.
Which makes it more stressful and more exhausting when it's not something that you really like to do.
Yeah, it more drained you.
Absolutely.
And took you away from the home and from the kids, but it wasn't like.
Yeah.
I think it's really. I've talked a lot about like something inside you being something that builds you and is like growing something inside you. And if it's not doing that, it's more draining and it's more sucking something out of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It definitely did. I would come home and be so exhausted. It was kind of a two-edged sword. I'd come home and be like, oh, you guys are so amazing. Thank you for not being the kids that tortured me today. But at the same time, I would be exhausted and not have the energy to give them what they needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you tried substituting.
Right. So that I still will do it every once in a while, but it's not something that.
Yeah. So appreciate substitutes. So appreciate teachers.
Teachers are amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So appreciate, and probably you really appreciated that time where you're like, oh my goodness, I really, really understand what they go through.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the next thing for you.
It was not. I loved the kids. And any kind of teaching job I had that was long term, I would bond with the kids, and then I didn't want to give them back to their real teacher when the teacher came back. So I can see the joy of being a teacher.
Yeah.
But I also know that it's not my calling in life.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But I love that you were looking for ways to find that next like passion or pursuit for you.
Yeah.
Because now that your kids are in school, and I think a lot of moms and a lot of people are looking for that when they're like in that next phase of life.
Yeah. Yeah, so it didn't work out, and I keep going back to that. I should go back to law school because it would actually be a really good time. They're all in school. I could do law school during the day. So that was my thought for a while.
Yeah.
And then about a year and a half ago, we found out that our youngest got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which is often a disease that's kind of brushed aside because so many people have it.
Yeah.
It's like, you got diagnosed. I've so many friends or an uncle or a grandma who had that.
It seems super common.
Yeah.
Which means it's not a big deal, right?
Yeah, it's not a big deal. That doesn't impact your family. You should still do what you were doing. Nothing's going to change. And I actually, for like a momentary time, thought that because my husband has it and I saw him take care of it and it looked like it was no big deal. But the reality of the disease is that the person taking care of the child, especially if it's a child who has it, doesn't sleep at night. It's alarms going off all night long. It's constantly trying to wake up your kid to feed them if their blood sugar's low or you're giving them insulin because they're high. There's so many different things during the night to worry about. And I also wake up just worrying that I'm missing an alarm. So it's not just alarms that wake you up. It's the worry that you need to be waking up. So you don't sleep. It's basically like a night shift job.
Oh my word.
So the thought of going back to school is still like on my brain.
Yeah.
But my mind knows, and when we talk about it as a couple, that it's just not the right time.
Yeah.
It would be beyond exhausting because right now I walk around like, we have this under control. We're good. But behind the smile is like this super exhausted mom that is trying her best, and it's a hard disease that I wish she didn't have. But because of it, there's so many strengths that we've pulled out of it. So I'm not grateful she has it, but I'm grateful for the strength that it's given her and me.
Yeah.
And all of us. The other girls are affected by it too.
Yeah, I'm sure it's been a huge impact on your family. And that's like the biggest reason you came to mind when I was thinking, okay, I've had these other inspirational women on the podcast. Like, I want to keep going with this. And you came to mind because I've seen, just as an outsider looking in, like, it has affected your family so much, and you've shared little snippets of that like window into your life. Mm-hmm. And I thought this would be, I think, such a great story and message to share because I think you've made the most of it. And I've only seen a little bit of how it's been hard, but I know like I didn't realize type 1 diabetes was such a huge like stress on your life constantly, especially as the mom, because kids like they don't pay attention to things like obviously, especially if it's a blood sugar, like, and I mean, I have a nutrition background. And so like, that makes sense. If it's something you have to measure constantly and keep an eye on constantly, like kids' attention span is like nothing. So like, how has it affected your family? How's it affected you specifically? In so many ways, right?
Yeah. Like how do I break this down into a podcast link? Number one, it has taught us all that we have to work together because the other two girls do not have any kind of medical needs that are life-threatening every day.
Yeah.
So they realize that the attention that Nora's getting is taking away from them, but they are old enough, luckily, they're old enough to realize that there's a reason for it, that they're not being pushed aside because we like the youngest the best or anything like that, you know. But it takes a lot of attention, and so it has strengthened our family in a way. I don't think that they would necessarily say that.
Yeah.
But I have seen them grow,
Yeah.
and I've seen that they look out for her.
Yeah.
Like, just even like the little things, like they want to ride their bike to the park, and maybe I'm not at home, and they'll say, "Hey, can we ride our bike to the park?" And I'll be typing, "Yeah, you can, but make sure you take snacks for Nora in case her blood sugar goes low." And before I can even send it, Sam will say, "We have low snacks, we have her glucometer." And I'm like, oh, they're totally watching out for her, you know? So it's a family event. And John having it, of course, helps tremendously.
Yeah.
We were able to get educated, and we were able to get her the things that she needed faster than most people would after diagnosis. So it's something that, for me, myself, I saw her get diagnosed, and I saw that it was impacting our family, and I saw that this disease was something that was overlooked a lot and brushed aside, like I said. And it was kind of one of those moments where I was like, oh, man, I'm an introvert. And I don't necessarily want to tell people about our problems. Like, I'm definitely not a Facebooker or Instagrammer that's like, look at all this sad stuff that's happening to us.
Yeah.
But I also, kind of like that lawyer thing, I kind of felt this drive to raise awareness about what it was, not because I wanted awareness for our family, like we need special attention and you need to help us, not that we have it under control, but to raise awareness because there actually isn't a cure. So I wanted to put myself out there to help raise awareness, to help raise funds. Nora did a walk for it this fall, and she raised so much money. I was so proud of her. Well, we raised it together, but we couldn't have done it without her cute little face, you know, as the look who you're helping. So it's really pushed me and helped me to realize that you can ask for help, number one, because I'm horrible at asking for help. I would much rather suffer alone at home. But there's times when you have a child who has medical needs that you just can't do it all on your own. Even if it's just like, hey, can you watch the other kids? Even though they're teenagers, it might be an overnight stay in the hospital, or you know, there's different things that you have to adjust, that you have to ask for help. And my family has been awesome. My friends have been awesome. But it's pushed me, and it's helped me to realize that I can do things that I didn't think I could do, and I could put myself out there like I didn't think. Like, I would not have been able to do a podcast, you know.
I know, I'm
before.
so proud of you. Like,
and
that's why I think it's so inspiring, is like you've taken yourself and like, you didn't ask for this condition to be in your family, but like you've taken it and you've like stepped up to the plate, like, right? And Rush having a cleft lip and a cleft palate in our family, and you know, people come and have asked, people know that we've had that in our family, and so when they have that condition, they, you know, come talk to us, and I say, you know what, you can do it. Like, the only option is to step up and to deal with it and to just make the most of it. And I love that you've done that. And like, you have that in you already. Like, you want to fight for the underdog, and like type 1 diabetes is clearly an underdog. Like, everybody just underestimates how difficult it is. And so like the fact that you've been able to create a platform and like be willing to talk about it. I mean, you said Nora doesn't like people knowing she has it.
Like, I didn't tell her I was doing this.
So maybe
if you hear this, don't tell her.
Don't tell Nora that we talked about this, but it is really important to talk about it. And I think that it's so great that, you know, maybe you're not going to law school yet, but like, this is such a great way to still
make a difference.
Like, you've made a difference. Like, you're pursuing a passion, you've found a purpose in this. And that, like, I think so many times men, like all of us are put into a place where we didn't realize, we didn't expect it, but we can still make something of it. And it's so, like, everybody can do that. Like, everyone can make something of the position that they're put in.
Right. I mean, you kind of feel like, as a mom, I mean, what's my other choice? I'm going to step up to the plate. I mean, I suppose there's some that wouldn't, but I think most moms, it's kind of ingrained into you, or dads. I'm sorry, I don't mean to leave dads out. That whether your child has medical needs, which lots of families deal with, or if it's a different kind of need, or there's lots of underlying invisible things that families are going through.
Yeah.
My sister has a son with autism, and it's such an invisible disease. He looks like all the other kids, but there are so many needs and so many ways that he's reacted to, that there's so many things you deal with that you need this community of support. There's kind of this underground community of support that even if you don't like have an actual meeting where you meet together to support one another, if you know a mom is going through something like that, like you're like, I gotcha, you got this, we can do this. And just knowing other people are going through it is kind of half of your internal battle, knowing I'm not alone in this, other people are fighting this, I can fight this, we can do this.
Yeah I love that. So what advice would you give yourself now that you've kind of been, did you say a year and a half ago you guys found out?
About a year and a half.
You've been in this a year and a half. I feel like I've seen you grow through this. Like,
definitely.
You've seen yourself grow. What advice would you give yourself?
The best days that I have are days when I wake up and I can see the goodness. So I think my advice would be to be grateful. And that sounds like such an easy answer.
Yeah.
But if you look deep into it, being grateful, number one, there's so many awesome medical advances that help in our particular situation that we are so grateful for.
Yeah.
All of these devices that are implanted on her that make our life so much easier.
Yeah.
Being grateful that she's alive, that we caught it before she got really sick, because this is a life-threatening disease. Being grateful that I have a husband that knows about it also, and that's a teammate in this. I'm not in this alone. There's so many things to be grateful for, and when you focus on those things and you have a focus on gratitude, that's when you grow, because you're pushing yourself. If all you're focused on is the negative and the bad things, it's almost impossible to grow, because you're not pushing yourself. You're not looking for other things that you can do to make a difference or to help, or whatever the case might be.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I think that's so timely. You were telling me before that...
I didn't even do that on purpose.
I know.
I forgot it was Thanksgiving.
I know. This is coming out during Thanksgiving week. Not to mention this month you said is Diabetes Awareness Month.
It is, yes.
Right? So
I should have worn my diabetes blue.
Well,
I'm excited for Christmas. So.
I think you're such a good advocate, because you've truly taken this on. And I think that's probably, everyone who's dealing with this, it was always unexpected. It's always, it's never expected. It's never planned for.
Yeah.
All medical conditions are that way. It's just, it's hard. It's a shock. It's hard. And
the whole family goes into shock.
There's so much learning.
Yeah.
There's so many unexpected events, but I love that advice to just be grateful, because I think if we focus on the things that are hard, then it just gets harder.
Yeah.
But I think...
And things are always going to be hard.
It's always going to be hard.
That's the way you grow. You kind of want it. You don't want it, but you kind of want it.
Yeah.
Because that's how you grow. So focusing on what's good helps you push through it, and it helps you keep your smile on your face. But it's okay to not always have a smile on your face too.
Totally.
That's understandable and reality.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sure you've cried plenty.
Oh, absolutely. Like a lot. But when you see a 9-year-old being stronger than you through something that she's actually dealing with. Sorry.
We had to cry once, right?
Yeah. That's when you realize, if a 9-year-old can take this, my 40-year-old self can take it. It's okay.
Yeah.
And there's good in everything. So focus on that, push forward, make sure that you're doing things that you enjoy also.
Yeah.
Because life can be easily consumed in these kinds of circumstances.
Yeah.
So I try to do things every day that are absolutely not diabetes related, because thinking about it all day long is bad enough, but if that's all I'm doing, I would go crazy.
Technical difficulties.
What are some specific ways, since it is Diabetes Awareness Month, that people can help out or help raise awareness?
JDRF, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, is the foundation that we like the most. They have a chapter here in Kansas City, and you can go to their website, jdrf.org, to donate. You can also post things on social media about signs of the disease and ways to treat it. There's lots of funny memes and serious memes and things that Nora would hate if I posted, but sometimes I do it anyways. But that's our main place that we donate is jdrf.org, and they have some great research facilities that are working on a cure. They're really, really close to a cure.
That's awesome.
They just need a little more push.
That's so great.
I have a friend who she's had diabetes her whole life, and the way she copes with it is kind of with memes and stuff.
Humor.
Yeah,
a way for you?
I think a lot of people with diabetes find a lot of humor in it. Nora finds some really funny memes, and they're all about, like, if you could ask me, like, most of them are like a funny picture and then things like, go ahead, ask me one more time if I can eat that. There are things like that. Like, she gets really sick of the same questions. Can you eat that?
Yeah.
Is that good for you?
Yeah.
Things like that she's like, oh my gosh, I can eat whatever I want. I just have to take insulin.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just gonna
but
punch you in the face if you ask me that.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's what she says. Can I punch them in the face? Like, she never would actually punch someone in the face. She's sweet.
I'm
But
sure I would feel the same way.
but yeah, you get tired of those misunderstandings, and
yeah.
and
common.
they're innocent. People aren't trying to be mean.
No,
but-
but the common misunderstandings.
Like, if you want to be super considerate to someone who has diabetes, like, the most thoughtful, wonderful thing would be like, hey, I brought this dessert and it has 14 carbs. That's all we want to know. How many carbs? And then leave us alone and don't talk about anything else. That's all.
Perfect. That's the key to a diabetic's heart.
Yes, exactly. It really is. You'll be their favorite person in the whole world.
There you go. I love that. Yeah. Well, and I love that. I think you've turned this into like a cause that you're passionate about helping.
passionate.
But I'm sure you still have all your other passions in your life, right? Like, I'm still sure music is still part of your life. I'm
Yeah.
your other kids, your family. Like, I'm sure someday you're going to make it to law school and you're going to be an amazing lawyer. Like, all the things, right? Like, just because you found a cause to be passionate about and to make a difference in, which brings you joy. Like,
Yeah. I don't want to stop there.
no, there's so many things to be passionate about. And so you're super inspiring. And I'm so thankful that you were willing to share your story. And
Thank you.
I know it's going to inspire so many women to
You baked some
say,
bread for our
hey, I can
family
do
that we
that
still
too.
talk about
There's
to
so
this
many
day.
ways that I can find my way to inspire and to find a cause and a passion and lift other people up too. So yeah, thank you for being willing to share.
Thank you.
And
been fun.
let's find more ways to help support diabetes and yeah, I love it. So yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening in this week. You guys can watch this on our YouTube channel and listen wherever you get your podcasts. And we will see you next week. Thanks for listening today to With Kilee Nichols. Stay tuned next week for another episode. And if you can't wait until then, you can find me at onelittle.mama.com, MOMMA, for beauty, our family, style tips, and more. And you can find my business at nicholandswade.com with the and spelled out. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.